Earlier this fall at SDSU, we had a visit by the one and only Ira Gold, who did a great masterclass for the students. He started out with some physical warm-ups, which I thought were really helpful. But since I was scrambling to get things ready for the masterclass, I missed the first 30 seconds or so on the video. So I'm going to show you the video, but just to show you what he did first. He started out with what we call a helicopter. You might see this in Tai Chi or other martial arts. Swinging your arms, swinging your whole torso, just letting your dead weight of your arms, feeling the dead weight of your arms, letting them extend as they gently swing. It's just getting some motion, but also letting your arms be very relaxed and the dead weight. Next, you bend over from the hips, don't round, but bend over a little bit, doing sort of a diagonal motion, like that. And then the third one he did was bending over a little farther, doing just a back and forth. Again, doing this from your hips, don't round, but from your hips, back and forth, just feeling the weight of your arms, letting them be super relaxed. That's how we started, and now for the actual video from Ira.
If I keep myself still and do this, now I'm just working my arms, and that's not really the point of the exercise. The idea is to move your body, and then your arms move with you, so that you're learning how to get your arms to be long and heavy and free without you having to do a lot of work. If you lean over a little bit more, like in a skier position, you kind of go left to right, and your arms can kind of swing side to side. There's kind of three main options. The rotational version, slightly leaning forward and going diagonally, and then kind of swinging side to side. But in all of them, I'm not really trying to move my arms, I'm just letting my arms kind of go with me. And if you feel like you're in a silly mood and you want to do something really fun, you can just kind of like shake your body around. Just get everything to be really loose. Get that feeling. Drop your jaw. Make some sounds, whatever. So the idea around it is to really take your arms and to let them just be hanging. Because as soon as we go to engage our arms, you're not going to have all that natural weight that you need to flow. Okay, so do that. Then I might do something like rotating my arms. And this is a little bit more controlled movement. So I put my hand on my shoulder to prevent my shoulder from rising up, because otherwise I'm going to create some tension. So if you just hold your shoulder down and rotate gently, if you can't do the full, going up, you can kind of come to the side, whatever's comfortable for you, and then going the other way. I don't really count, I just kind of do it, and then when I'm kind of bored, I go to the other side. I just kind of, it's mostly done by feel. If you're a counter and you like counting, and you're like, I'm going to do it 5 times, and then move on. That's fine. Okay, another thing I like to do is sort of like a modified Sun Salutation. So instead of going all the way to the ground and doing planks and chaturanga and all that stuff, we just do the upper body. So you take your hands, bring them into prayer, look up, and so you breathe in as you're going up. And then you breathe out as you bring your arms down. And it should be kind of like a flowing process, so that you kind of count a certain number going up, coming down, and try to be very kind of regulated about it. So let's just do that together a few times. So up. Down. A couple more times. Up. Again. Good. Okay, so we are going to do a few static things just because I want to show you some of the things that I do. But the idea would be that maybe normally you would do them after you play. Okay, so some basic things. Let's do a couple wrist rolls first. So there's 2 kinds of wrist rolls I do. One is with closed hands and one is with open hands. So if you just close your hands, don't squeeze, but just close them gently, and then just rotate in either direction, either in or out, but gently. You don't want to like try to pop, make a popping sound, but if there is a sound that happens, it's natural and normal. And again, the idea is to just do it a few times, and then switch and go the other way. We're just trying to create space in these joints so that we're ready to play. Then I'll open my hands and do the same thing. Other way. Okay, good. Check that out. Okay, so with the neck, there's been some new understanding about rolling the neck and moving into different positions. While it's comfortable sometimes to rotate the neck in the full rotation, it's better if you kind of work it through this 180-degree area. So what we're going to do is we're going to lower your chin a little bit, like you're going to look towards the floor, but you're not going to fully look towards the floor, just sort of look like in front of you, and then rotate to one side and then back to the other, but you're not going to come above this area, just so that you keep your head in a decent place rather than rotating all the way around. Okay, so it'll basically look like you come up to here, and then once you reach there, you just rotate back to the other side, and you just kind of go back and forth a few times. And I like to do it kind of like in a steady motion, because you get to kind of learn how to control the neck muscles and kind of work that range of motion. If you think about it, this is something I've been thinking about in orchestra. I'm sure Jeremy has some thoughts on this too, although you're probably always in the same spot, is that as a section player, sometimes I'm to the right of the music stand, and sometimes I'm to the left of the music stand. And depending on which side I'm on, the way I use my neck and my head to see the music is different, right? So if the music stands there, kind of like that, but if the music stands there, I tend to look more straight because my bass is on my left side, so it's a little more comfortable. But if the music stand is there, I find that I tend to do some twisting with my neck. It's just something just to notice. So again, these kinds of exercises are good to just like strengthen the neck muscles, but also help you to have more intuition around how you're carrying your neck in your life. What happens if someone's calling to you? Do you turn around or do you go, so just important to check in with that. Okay, let's just do it a couple more times. We'll go like maybe 3 or 4. Good. Okay. Another one I like to do is to work on the shoulder. So we're going to do shoulder rolls forwards and backwards. And the reason this is important is because when we play the bass is here. And so it's very easy for us to go this way, right? Because that's where everything is located. So we really have to work on creating posture that goes the other way. So bringing your shoulders up, back, and down, and creating space in your chest so that you're able to breathe better. You have more resonance in your chest cavity, and you're not creating tension in your upper body as good as you come to the bass. Because say you're shifting, you're going up, you're going to be naturally designed to collapse. And that's normal. We kind of just do that. But then if you create that posture in your daily life and you're kind of walking around like this, it's not good for the way you're carrying yourself. So I like to always check back in and do this exercise. So we'll start with the forward ones. So basically bring your shoulders up towards your ears, bring them down, and then just curl them around. And again, I try to do it in a steady motion so that I really feel the whole circle that I'm making. And I kind of know where my shoulders are throughout the entire circle, and I just kind of notice it. You don't really have to do anything with your head, you just keep it stable. You're just working the shoulders. And then we'll go the other way, so it's the same concept. Up, back, and down. And I don't start the next circle until I've reached back to that neutral state again, right? So once I come down, I'm like, all right, I'm done. Then I can go again. I would say this is probably my top 3 things that I think is really good for bass playing because it's working on the exact opposite of what you do when you play. Okay, so one other thing with this that's sort of related, and it's half of a yoga pose, which is to take your arms out in front of you and to gradually bring your arms to the sides. So the exercise is really to just create space, but you start it here, and then you end up going to where you're going to be limited, and you stop and you just feel completely open. And then once you reach that place, bring it back to the same starting place. Right? So again, we're working on range of motion. So you breathe in, open up, and then exhale. Just do that a couple more times. Okay, great. Okay, I'll show you two of my favorite but gnarly static poses. Okay, so the first one is, it's a little tricky. You take the right arm in front and your left arm underneath your right arm. You try to bring your hands up together. If you can't, you can use a towel or a rag or something. Or you can just stay where you are. If you can't, touch your hands and just keep your hands in a fist. And then just bring your arms down so that you're working the muscles in the back. If you can touch, you just bring them together and hold them. The other variation on this is if you're here and you feel comfortable, you could bring your arms forward. But again, you don't want to do anything to your wrists that are going to hurt your wrists. So you really don't want to bend your wrists. You want to keep them really relaxed. So you've got a couple variations. Towel, nothing, together, down, or forward. All kinds of things.
Is this for one shoulder or?
Yeah, this is just one side, then you switch and do the other one. Okay, check that out, breathe it out. So same idea, left arm in front, right arm underneath, bring them up, down or forward, wherever you end up landing. And with all poses like this, it's important to just breathe regularly and to notice that you're breathing regularly. If you're holding your breath, don't. Okay, let go of all that. Okay, so one more and then we'll get to our bases. Okay, this one might feel even trickier. Be kind to yourself when you try this, okay? So you take the right arm, you bring it behind. You take your other arm, you bring it underneath, and you try to meet your head. So again, just go where you go. The idea that you can collect it together is to create that bind, but it's a work in progress. Some people take a long time to learn how to do that. The idea around it is that if you can do it, you want to relax your head and neck. Don't try to strain or lean forward. You just want to stay where you are. This is another one where using a rag or towel to connect the hands is totally appropriate and necessary when you're first learning how to do this. Okay, then when you come out of it slowly. And then you do the same thing on the other side. What I find is that one side is a little harder than the other. My theory on that is that the right arm, which is our bow arm, develops a little bit more muscle in the lower arm and the upper arm. And so there's just a little bit more, there's less space on that side. So when I tend to go into the bind, there's less space between that arm and the body, and so it's a little harder to get the bind. Whereas your left arm doesn't create as much muscle in the upper arm, it creates a lot more strength in the hand because we use our hands so much on the left side. Whereas in our right arm, we're using these muscles a lot to play. So you might notice if you do this regularly that one side feels a little more comfortable than the other. Okay, so those were some basic things. If you wanted to do a warm-up for yourself, you could completely reduce that down to maybe 3 or 4 or 5 minutes of like your favorite little exercises. There's lots of other things like hand massage where you might massage every part of your hand. Yeah, there's infinite YouTube videos and things out there of things that people do to create space in the body so that you can do your best work, whether you're an athlete or a musician. Anyways, so those are some things. Okay, let's take our bases.